Now we're going to question number 9. We always start with the prompt, and this prompt is asking us, how would text 2 respond to the conventional wisdom in text 1? And what is that conventional wisdom in text 1? Let's find out what it is so we can then say what text 2 would say about that. So text 1. Ecologists have long wondered how thousands of microscopic plankton species can live together near ocean surfaces, competing for the same resources. According to conventional wisdom, one species should emerge after outcompeting the rest. So why do so many species remain? Ecologists' many efforts to explain this still haven't uncovered an explanation. So the conventional wisdom that's being referenced is the idea that for the plankton, one species will emerge after outcompeting the rest. And what does text 2 say about that? This ecologist and his team have connected the diversity to the microscopic size. Because these organisms are so tiny, they're spaced far apart from each other in the ocean water and experience that water as a relatively dense substance. This makes it hard for them to move around and interact with one another. Therefore, direct competition among the phytoplankton probably happens much less than previously thought. So once again, the conventional wisdom was that they're going to compete against each other. The plankton are going to compete against each other, and one is going to emerge. And text 2 says that they're actually spaced very far apart from one another, and direct competition probably doesn't really happen so often. It happens much less often than previously thought. So it's just plain saying that it's wrong. It's saying that maybe text 1 doesn't realize how far these plankton are from one another, and therefore the idea that they would compete against each other is not really a reasonable idea. So let's start looking at the answers now. A says text 2 would argue that text 1 is based on a misconception about phytoplankton species competing with one another. That makes sense because the misconception would be the idea of not realizing that they're actually too far away from one another. Answer choice B, by asserting that text 1 fails to recognize that routine replenishment of ocean nutrients prevents competition. So the routine replenishment of ocean nutrients, that really wasn't mentioned. It was about the spacing and how that keeps them from competing at all. C, by suggesting that their own findings help clarify how phytoplankton are able to compete. Well, text 2 says that they don't compete with each other. It says that right here, it says direct competition happens less than people previously thought. So the idea of them competing is what makes answer choice C wrong. And D, by recommending that more ecologists focus their research on how competition is increased with water density. Well, once again, we're hearing that they don't compete. So the idea of how they would compete is not really what text 2 said. So we can get rid of D, and the answer here is A.